A 17-year-old kid sitting at his desk, textbook open, eyes staring at the same paragraph for the 10th time, and his mind? Somewhere completely different. That was Jake Miller, and he was about to discover something that would change everything. Jake lived in a quiet little town in Nebraska. Big dreams lived inside his chest. He wanted to become a teacher someday, to help kids learn and grow, to make a real difference. But there was one massive problem standing in his way. His mind never stayed put. Every single morning, Jake would pull out his books, crack open a page, and start reading. 2 lines in, and boom, his mind would jump ship. He'd hear a car passing by outside, and suddenly he's thinking about road trips. Kids laughing down the street. And now he's remembering that embarrassing thing he said 3 years ago. Food, friends, video games, that show everyone's talking about. A million random thoughts racing through his head like a freight train with no brakes. He couldn't even finish one single page. His dad, Robert, was a construction worker. Tough hands, strong back, worked from sunrise to sunset. But underneath all that toughness was a heart full of love for his son. Every day Robert would watch Jake sit there with those books, learning absolutely nothing, and it killed him inside. "A scattered mind never gets anywhere, son," Robert would say. His voice firm, but his eyes filled with worry. He was scared. Terrified, actually. Scared that Jake would fail, that he'd struggle through life just like Robert had struggled. Jake's mom, Sarah, was different. Soft-spoken, kind, the type of woman who could make you feel better just by being in the room. She worked hard every single day, cooking, cleaning, managing the household. Even though chronic pain in her legs made every step difficult, she never complained, not once. She loved Jake with everything she had. "My boy's got a good heart," Sarah would say with that gentle smile of hers. "He's gonna shine one day, just wait and see." Every night before bed, she'd pray for him, asking God to give her son the strength and wisdom he needed. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months, and nothing changed. Jake tried, he really did, but he kept failing. At school, teachers would call on him, and he'd freeze, clueless. Other kids would snicker and whisper. Jake would walk home with his head down, feeling like the biggest loser on the planet. One afternoon, Sarah sent him to the grocery store. Simple task, right? "Just grab some tomatoes and potatoes, honey. Shouldn't take more than 20 minutes. Jake headed out, but on the way, everything caught his attention. Street performer juggling on the corner, stopped and watched. Guy selling vintage comic books at a yard sale, had to check it out. A group of guys showing off skateboard tricks at the park, stood there for half an hour. By the time he remembered the groceries, he'd been gone for 2.5 hours. Robert was standing on the front porch when Jake finally got home, arms crossed, jaw clenched. "Where the hell have you been?" "2 vegetables, Jake. 20 minutes max." "You've been gone for over 2 hours. Jake had nothing to say. He just stood there, tears burning behind his eyes, feeling like a complete failure. He hated himself, but he had no idea how to change. That night, after Jake went to bed, Robert and Sarah sat at the kitchen table, talking in hushed voices. "He's not a bad kid," Sarah said quietly. "He's got a good heart, but his mind's like a wild horse running in every direction at once." Robert nodded slowly. "I know. I've tried being strict. I've tried being supportive. Nothing works. I don't know what else to do." Sarah thought for a moment, then her eyes lit up. "Remember that counselor everyone talks about? Dr. Matthews, the one who lives by the river trail? People say he changes lives with simple techniques. Maybe he could help Jake." Hope flickered in Robert's eyes. "Yeah, let's take him there tomorrow morning." The next day, the family drove out to the edge of town where the river trail began. It was a beautiful spot, peaceful and quiet. At the end of the trail, near a massive oak tree overlooking the water, sat an older man with silver hair and calm, steady eyes, Dr. Matthews. A few other people sat nearby, listening to him speak in low tones. The whole place felt different, like sacred ground. Robert, Sarah, and Jake approached slowly. They greeted him respectfully. Dr. Matthews looked up and smiled warmly. "Please sit down. What brings you here today?" Robert spoke first. "Dr. Matthews, we need your help. This is our son, Jake. He's a good kid with a big heart, but his mind jumps all over the place. He can't focus on anything. We're worried sick about his future." Dr. Matthews turned his gentle gaze to Jake. "Come here, son." Jake moved closer and sat down across from him. "Tell me, Jake, what's going on inside that head of yours?" Jake's voice came out quiet and defeated. "I want to study, sir. I want to make my parents proud, but my brain won't cooperate. It's everywhere except where it needs to be. I start something, and I can never finish it. I feel like such a failure." Dr. Matthews listened without interrupting. When Jake finished, he nodded slowly. "I understand. A lot of young people face this exact same struggle. But here's the good news, there's a solution. It's simple, but it takes practice and commitment." Dr. Matthews reached into a small bag beside him and pulled out a white candle and a lighter. He lit the candle carefully. The tiny flame flickered in the breeze. He placed it on a flat stone between them. "Jake, I want you to do something very simple. Watch this flame. Just watch it. Don't think about anything else. Keep your eyes focused on this flame, nothing else." Jake looked confused. "That's it? Just stare at a candle?" Dr. Matthews smiled. "Try it. You'll see what I mean." Jake started watching the flame. At first, it seemed ridiculously easy. But after just 10 seconds, his mind started drifting. Homework he needed to finish. That text he forgot to answer. What's for dinner tonight? The new season of that show dropping next week. That argument with his friend last Tuesday. Dr. Matthews watched silently. After about a minute, he said, "Stop. Where did your mind go?" Jake felt embarrassed. "Everywhere. I couldn't keep it on the flame." Dr. Matthews nodded knowingly. "Exactly. Your mind's like a wild horse that's never been trained. It doesn't know how to stay in one place, but you can train it. This little flame is going to be your teacher." He explained slowly and clearly. "This flame represents your goal, your dream, whatever you're trying to achieve in life. But your thoughts are like the wind, constantly blowing that flame in different directions. An untrained mind can't keep the flame steady, but a disciplined mind can. When you practice watching this flame every day, you're training your mind. You're teaching it to focus on one thing at a time. This small practice will change your entire life." For the first time, Jake understood. It wasn't that he was stupid or lazy. His mind was just untrained, like a muscle he'd never worked out. Dr. Matthews handed the candle to Jake. "Take this home. Every morning when you wake up, light this candle and watch the flame for 10 minutes. Do the same thing every night before bed. Every single day, no exceptions. In 1 month, come back and see me." Jake held the candle like it was made of gold. "I'll do it, sir. I promise. Every single day." Robert and Sarah thanked Dr. Matthews with tears in their eyes. The family drove home, and Jake held that candle the entire way, feeling something he hadn't felt in years, hope. That night, Jake sat in his bedroom, lit the candle, and placed it in front of him. The flame danced gently. He took a deep breath and started watching. It was brutally hard. His mind bolted away within seconds. Dinner smells from downstairs. His phone buzzing. A dog barking outside. The game he wanted to play. He forced himself to bring his attention back to the flame, but it kept running away. Those 10 minutes felt like 10 hours. When he finally finished, he was mentally exhausted. But he also felt something else, pride. He didn't quit. The next morning, Jake woke up early and lit the candle again. Today was slightly easier. His mind still wandered constantly, but he caught it faster, pulled it back quicker. Sarah watched from his doorway, tears of joy streaming down her face. Days passed. Jake practiced every morning, every night, no matter what. Some days were easier. Some days felt impossible. Sometimes he wanted to give up, but then he'd remember his parents' worried faces, Dr. Matthews' words, his own promise. He kept going. Slowly, something incredible started happening. At school, Jake found himself actually listening to his teachers. He could complete his homework now without getting distracted every 2 minutes. When his mom asked him to run errands, he went straight there and back, no detours. Robert noticed but didn't say anything. He just watched with growing hope. 2 weeks in, something amazing happened. The teacher asked a tough question in class. In the past, Jake wouldn't have even tried to answer. But today, he'd been listening carefully. He raised his hand. "I think I know the answer, sir." He gave the correct answer. The teacher looked shocked. The other students actually clapped. Jake felt something powerful surge through him, confidence. But the journey wasn't smooth. One afternoon, walking through town, Jake's friends called out to him, "Yo, Jake, we're about to hit the basketball courts. Come play." The old Jake would have dropped everything and run over. But today, he paused. He thought about the candle flame, about his promise. "I'll catch you guys later. Got some stuff I need to finish first." His friends laughed and made jokes, but Jake didn't care. He finished what he needed to do, then went and played. That small victory made him stronger. 4 weeks passed like this. Jake's life was transforming. He wasn't perfect, still made mistakes, but he was improving every single day. His mind was becoming his ally instead of his enemy. Finally, the day came to visit Dr. Matthews again. Jake and his parents drove back to the river trail. Dr. Matthews was sitting in the same spot under that oak tree. When he saw Jake, he smiled broadly. "Come, sit down. Tell me, how'd it go?" Jake sat down, and this time his voice was clear and confident. "The first week was hell, honestly. I wanted to quit so many times, but I didn't. The second week got a little easier. By the third week, I could actually feel the difference. Now I can focus on my schoolwork. I can finish tasks. I feel powerful, like I'm finally in control. Thank you, Dr. Matthews, you changed my life." Dr. Matthews' smile grew even bigger. "No, Jake, I didn't change your life. You did. The candle was just a tool. The real work was done by you. You showed up every single day. You didn't give up. That's why you succeeded." He looked at Jake with pride in his eyes. "Remember this forever. Your mind is the most powerful thing you own. If you control your mind, you control your life. If your mind controls you, you'll always struggle. Discipline your thoughts every single day, and success will follow you wherever you go." Jake bowed his head, tears rolling down his face, but they were happy tears this time. Robert put his hand on Jake's shoulder, and for the first time in years, his face was relaxed and genuinely happy. Sarah cried and hugged her son tight. "I always knew you'd shine, baby. I always knew." The family drove home with light hearts. Jake continued his practice every single day. He never stopped. Months passed. Jake's life kept getting better and better. When the big final exams came around, Jake was ready. He sat in that exam room with a calm, focused mind. He closed his eyes for just a second, pictured that candle flame, then started writing. He didn't get distracted once. He completed the entire exam with focus and confidence he'd never felt before. 2 weeks later, the results came out. Jake had scored the highest grade in his entire class. His teacher praised him in front of everyone. The same kids who used to laugh at him now looked at him with respect. Jake ran home, clutching that report card. "Dad, Mom, look at this." His parents stared at the paper in disbelief. Robert hugged Jake so tight he could barely breathe, his rough hands trembling, tears streaming down his weathered face. "I'm so damn proud of you, son," he said, voice cracking. Sarah cried tears of pure joy, thanking God over and over. Word spread through the small town. Neighbors stopped by to congratulate them. People who doubted Jake now praised him. But Jake stayed humble. He knew the truth. This success came from discipline, practice, and a controlled mind. Years later, Jake became a teacher, just like he'd always dreamed. He helped hundreds of students in his community. Whenever a student struggled with focus, Jake would tell them his story. He'd give them a candle and teach them the exact same lesson Dr. Matthews had taught him. Here's the truth. Jake's story isn't just a story. It's reality for all of us. We all have dreams, we all want success, but most of us have minds that jump around like pinballs. We start things and never finish them. We get distracted constantly. We waste precious time. But if we learn to discipline our thoughts like Jake did, everything changes. The secret is beautifully simple. Choose one small practice. Maybe it's reading for 10 minutes every day. Maybe it's working out for 10 minutes. Maybe it's learning one new skill daily. Whatever it is, do it every single day. Train your mind to focus. Your mind will fight you at first, trust me, but don't give up. Keep pushing. Just like Jake, you'll watch your life completely transform. Remember this. A disciplined mind isn't born, it's built. Build it brick by brick, day by day, choice by choice. And one day, you'll achieve everything you ever dreamed of and more.